Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the Mercedes-AMG E63S facelift. It is a V8 bi-turbo 4MATIC Plus. Long name, but the name actually tells you a lot of information about this car. Now, this is the key of the vehicle. This is to lock the car, this is to unlock the car, and this is to open the boot of the vehicle. And chrome treatment is also there here, but there's no chrome treatment on the car as such. Straight away we're going to be opening the engine bay of this vehicle, which means for the very first time I'm actually feeling quite hot to do it. I mean, the engine bay is like burning hot, but here is the lever and there is the AMG engine. You can see it says handcrafted by someone, Mercedes-AMG Germany, and the engine bay looks absolutely a piece of art. In fact, there's insulation here, sort of a different sort of insulation there, because obviously this is all about performance, and I think you can see that there as well. Now the washer fluid actually goes here, and the engine bay is so freaking packed that this engine barely seems to sit inside, because obviously it's a big fat motor here. In fact, it even says Mercedes-Benz oil recommended. That's a very nice plug. Okay, hydraulic struts or gas struts. Straight away we're going to shut this. Now the design of this car has been updated, because at the front we get a different grille, the lights as well as the bumper, all that has been modified, because this is obviously the facelifted version of the Mercedes E63, but now we also get the 53. By the way, it says AMG right here, front parking sensors, there's a front camera here, big Mercedes logo, the classic Mercedes-Benz logo as well. What is Mercedes-Benz on a Mercedes-AMG? Kind of confusing. Anyways, the bumper has this huge opening so that the radiator can breathe and obviously air can flow inside the engine. The ground clearance is obviously on the lower side, but you know what, it's got air suspension. Press a button and then the ground clearance raises, because it has to clear big speed breakers, because the length of this car is absolutely crazy. It's almost 5 freaking meters in length. The wheelbase is slightly more than 2.9 meters, and this car is actually based on the short wheelbase version of the E-Class, not the long wheelbase version of the E-Class, which is on sale in India. Obviously it doesn't need such a long wheelbase, because this is all about performance. Now the lights are multi-beam LED lights, which are absolutely fantastic. In fact, it says multi-beam LED here on the inside. Get this blue tinge, Mercedes-Benz written here. Now this is very smart. I mean, the lights are super duper smart. It can sense if there's someone ahead and accordingly alter the amount of LEDs it wants to use. I think it has got around 43 LEDs or something of that sort. Meanwhile, this is the DRL, which also doubles up as the indicator, which you can see on the other side. Of course, lights are absolutely fantastic. There's this power bulge on the hood, which you can see, which is also kind of cool. Now coming to the side of the car, this one is running on 20-inch wheels. I think 19s are standard. These are forged wheels. The tire size happens to be 265/35/20s. Red colored brake calipers says AMG there. However, the pre-facelifted model actually had golden colored brake calipers. It says AMG right here as well. The alloy wheels look absolutely fantastic. It's running on Michelin tires, but the spare wheel actually happens to be a Pirelli. Anyways, says V8 bi-turbo 4MATIC Plus here. This is a piano black boomerang finish. I don't know why. And at night when you unlock the car, there's a light projection which happens from here just to show you where you are actually heading. That's kind of cool, but it does not project AMG logo anywhere. It has a camera here, because obviously it gets a 360-degree camera as well. And this car has this package, which means that all the doors get request sensors as well. In fact, it even gets hands-free trunk opening. If you have the key in your pocket, you come behind and stand. Car will realize that you're standing behind, it will open the boot of the vehicle. Now the rear tires are obviously bigger, staggered tire setup, 295/30/20, 30 profile tires on this car, absolutely crazy. Meanwhile, it says AMG here on the brake calipers, of course. Alloy wheels look really fantastic. I love the design of the alloy wheels, and you can see there is very little distance between the body and the wheels. Now, of course, I can raise the ride height, which will obviously make a big fat difference as well. You can see this piano black finishing around the windows as well. piano black finishing here on the B pillar too. That's kind of nice. And then this is also quite black because obviously this is a glass roof inside this car. Meanwhile, you have to sell all your gold, whatever money you get from it, you will use it to fill fuel inside this car right here, because fuel price is like 125 rupees per liter. These are the specs for what pressure you should put in your tires. It's E5 as well as E10 compatible, which is ethanol, okay, whatever. Doesn't really matter. A person who buys this car will not really care about all this. However, the stance of this car is absolutely fantastic, along with the fact that they've updated the nose and the grille and the headlights. They've also done so at the rear. So the tail lights have been modified like new ones. Now, one thing which I forgot to tell you is when you turn off the car at night, the headlights just dim in a very soft and subtle manner. Same happens at the rear as well. The tail lights actually dim in a very soft and subtle manner. I'm disappointed it does not do that whole dance which the GLS does, and even the S63, the old one, when you actually turn on the car. No, or unlock the car. That does not happen here. It's very simple and basic. In fact, this is the rear fog light of the car, and there's just one of them. It's not there on the other side. From the rear, it looks very purposeful. It says AMG here. It has this chrome, and it says E63S. This subtle spoiler, which also looks quite classic. And talking about classic, someone is learning to ride a classic there, making a lot of sound. It gets quite freaking exhaust. Faisal Khan's fingers of truth will always remain away from such exhaust because they are real. However, the actual inlet is inside, which you can see. Okay, outside you just have this covering. It says AMG here. There's a towing hook, and you get rear parking sensors, of course. Now, I should not forget to tell you that the diffuser has actually been updated, and there you can see the underbody of this vehicle. Oh my god, this is an absolute piece of art, this car. You can see the exhaust looks so freaking nice as well. Now the camera is hidden here. Once you get into reverse, the camera actually pops out and I think these are reflectors which are there. Let's open the boot of the vehicle, which is kind of useless. Here I press a button. It's a powered tailgate because the spare wheel has been placed right on top. Why would you do that, Mercedes? Where will I keep my luggage? Okay, I'm not going many places with this car because obviously it's not very comfortable on Indian roads because of low profile tires. You have to be really careful. I'm just buying time doing yip yap yoop just to see the size of the tire, which happens to be a 135/70. Arey yaar, ye kaise band kiya hai tumne? Let me see. Yeah, it is a 19. Okay, it is an alloy. Here you can see it is an alloy which is restricted to 80 kilometers per hour. And now things get even tougher for me because I'm trying to go down. Okay, there you can see there's some storage space, and below that also I can go. Oh my god, this is a very difficult thing to do. I'll just keep the phone down for a second because this car has got nitrous oxide. There is a cylinder of nitrous, and that is probably the battery of the vehicle. Okay, that's not nitrous. I don't even know what that is, but you guys can guess. Now this is the typical thing which I see in so many Mercedes cars, so that you can skate. Okay, you just hold yourself here and then the car moves full acceleration and then you fall down. Now you pull this lever to actually put the seats down. It gets a 40-20-40 reclining seat. Here I can see the springs for the power tailgate probably, and there is this warning triangle on the top. There's a light here as well. I press this button and there closes the boot. Power tailgate for the win. Really nice. Okay, I like the fact that there are request sensors on all the doors, and all the door handles actually get this chrome treatment, which is also quite nice and tasteful. Now certain things have actually changed in this car when compared to the pre-facelifted model, for the worse that is. Okay, this has this sun blind which has to be manually used, and it's big enough to cover the quarter glass at the rear, which is kind of nice as well. Door pockets are actually big enough. You can see there is a puddle lamp here. The quality of the car is absolutely immaculate. Like, hard plastics are very little, and this beautiful leather finishing tweeter, speaker, burmester, this nice line as well, and then beautiful stitching too. Very tastefully done. Let's do one thing. Let's put the window down, and it goes all the freaking way down, like pura niche jata hai. German cars usually don't do that. I'm gonna put it back up. Now because it is based on the short wheelbase version of the E-Class, space at the rear isn't that much, but hey, I can recline it like this. Yeah, that's a full 60, although I can just press this button and remove it separately. This also I'll put down, and there you can see then I can increase the boot carrying capacity. But what would I want to carry? I don't even know that, because this car is all about speed. Okay, that is the top teether. It obviously gets Isofix child seat mounts as well. So yeah, it says Isofix here. AMG mats, which are very expensive, and there's a massive hump in the center, so 3 people are not really welcome, although the center passenger does get a head. But if you don't want to use this head, you can obviously recline this because there is some storage space inside. In fact, it's got twin cup holders as well. And then the good news is that if you want to carry something long, you can recline this and then you can carry that long item. Well, that's what she said. Anyway, seats are extremely comfortable. The pre-facelift model which I drove actually had some AMG sports seats which were like really stiff. These are like very nice in terms of balance, and then I press this button and I can move the headrest ahead or behind. That's kind of easy and cool. Yeah, there, I can push it. Height adjustable seat belts at the front. How cool is that? You get a hook here, you get a handle, another hook, and there is light placement here on the side as well. It's kind of nice. AC vent placement here on the B pillar as well as in the center. Let me turn on the air conditioning. So it gets a 3-zone climate control air conditioning system. Okay, it goes below 16 degrees to low. Now legroom and kneeroom is quite good. In fact, it's adequate enough. Scooped out seat back. There's a magazine holder as well. But under-thigh support is not the best and headroom is just about adequate. Meanwhile, you can see because of the hump, 3 people will not sit in, but obviously it's a wide enough cabin. There is an ashtray along with a cigarette light or a 12-volt charging socket as such, and then it's very easy to turn off the AC vents at the rear. Nice, satisfying click to it. You can see the dashboard design looks more or less the same, but that is a new steering wheel. Yeah, that is an all-new steering wheel, which is both a hit as well as a miss. Now, speaker placement remains more or less the same here in this car. Okay, you've got ambient lighting here, which is quite cool, which looks very nice at night. In fact, you can see the light here as well. So that's beautifully done. Okay, nice Alcantara finish. Overall quality of the cabin is absolutely phenomenal, and it gets another roof here. It's a panoramic roof, no, because there's this panel in between. But why is this panel needed? Because there's no light here as such or a mirror. But this panel is not the best idea. We could have got a massive roof instead, like a glass roof, but this thing kind of spoils the whole thing. Now this one does not open, of course, but this was not there in the pre-facelifted model, which has come in the facelifted model. It's good for rear passengers to get some light because cabin is like dark colored. Now we get brown seats here. You can obviously opt for the color of seats which you personally like, but let me be very honest with you. The pre-facelifted model had all black interiors. It had some sort of carbon fiber finish between the top and the lower part of the dashboard. That was also very cool. Now let's get outside. Another feature which we all take for granted is soft closed door. Here I just push it like this and there it pulls it inside. That's again very cool indeed. And then you can see the wheel arches actually flared. This is flared. They've actually expanded the body a bit so that the wheels don't protrude outside, because in the US it's a rule you cannot have wheels protruding outside the body as such. And this is another reason why we have this sort of a thingy. Now see the size of the rear tire, absolutely crazy size. Like, what is that? Makes me go mad thinking that what will be the cost of repair. You can see the indicator functioning here at the rear. What a beautiful car with crazy attention to detail. So let's get inside. Okay, it doesn't get the blind spot monitor thingy on the outside rear view mirrors, but you know what, it has got a ton of optional bits. It says AMG here, which actually lights up at night, and there you get a proper dead pedal. Okay, the pedals itself are really nice and long and big. This is the electric parking brake. These are the controls for the lights, and this is the button for the rear fog. It doesn't get a front fog, it doesn't need it. Now this is for the headlight leveler. I believe you can see some ambient lighting. Ambient lighting is absolutely beautiful in this car. Now what Mercedes has done is actually remove the buttons which were placed here for heads up display to raise the right height of the car and miscellaneous items. Those buttons have been removed. Some of them have been shifted inside this cluster. The others have been shifted into the main screen, of course. And then, you know what else Mercedes has done? Okay, the earlier model, the pre-facelifted model, actually had a button with which you could control the co-driver's seat, adjusting the position as well as turning on heating as well as ventilation. That has been removed as well. There was speaker placement somewhere else here. That position has been changed, and here were rotating tweeters which have been removed on this car. Now you can option the car with around 23 speakers, but I think this car has lesser speakers because यहाँ पे तो वो rotating speakers ही चले गए. I'm very disappointed about that. I was so looking forward to making videos and reels on that कि tweeters घूम रहे हैं, but नहीं, निकाल दी Mercedes ने. Now this is to turn on the heating function of the driver's seat. This is to turn on the ventilation function of the driver's seat, and these are the controls for the adjustment of the driver's seat. You get memory function. You can save up to 3 people's settings. Under-thigh support is never an issue because if I press a button there, I can increase the under-thigh support of the car, rather of the seats, of course. And it says AMG here along with the AMG logo here. Meanwhile, it gets dynamic seats, so when you're cornering right, the left side bolster actually moves and kind of gives you that sense of support. and vice versa. It's super duper awesome. It's something I can't show you, but you can only feel it. It's so amazing. Something or the other is written here. I don't even know what that means. Okay, it tells you the weight of the car right here. I think it weighs around 2000 kgs. This is obviously with people inside, the serial number and stuff like that. Okay, it obviously says Mercedes here, which is kind of cool. Those are the wipers. These are the sensors. I think those sensors are obviously for active brake assistance, stuff like that. Now let's get inside. Before that, I want to show you the soft closed door function once again, and there it pulls it inside very softly, very smoothly done. The steering wheel is of course new here. Now this happens to be the steering wheel from the Mercedes S class, the latest generation of the Mercedes S class. The only disappointing part here is that this haptic control is not that great. It's not very intuitive to use, and sometimes the click does not really work. So Mercedes, if it ain't broke, why fix it? The old steering wheel was just fantastic. It obviously gets a flat bottom treatment. Says AMG right here. You can call it a 5-spoke steering wheel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because this is a big one. You can call it 6 as well. You can call it whatever you feel like. Okay, it says down here on the paddle shifters. They are amazing, like really nice quality metal. Of course, the horn is nice, but problem ye hai na, the car is so well insulated, I can't hear the horn on the inside. You can only hear it on the outside as such. Says airbag here. It gets a multitude of airbags. It gets a handle here on the driver's side as well. Beautiful finishing right there. It gets a light here, of course, and like, oh my god, I'm not able to remove this. That wasn't easy. Okay, now here again you get a light along with, of course, beautiful sun visor in Alcantara finish. There's a mic placement here. There's a mic placement here as well, and obviously you get a door handle, rather a handle to hold on to everywhere, because you really need it because of the performance of this car. Now the glove box is actually decent size, but filled with so many papers. I'm kind of confused. Doesn't get the cooling function, but you can opt for the air balance package where the perfume would be inside and then the perfume would come out from here. Now that's again optional kit. You can lock the glove box if you so wish. Meanwhile, like I was telling you, the door pockets are actually big enough. This actually comes out, so you can go home and take your drink as well. And let me just put it back into place. Now this is to open the boot of the vehicle from the inside. It obviously gets powered tailgate. Lot of changes here when compared to the pre-facelifted model. First and foremost, there was a speaker placement here which Mercedes has just removed. Okay, and these are the controls for the lights here. I can just turn them on at the moment. Now there are a couple of lights here which you can see. They work gesture control, so it's known as the MBUX assistant. If I put my hand on the left to grab some item, these lights will automatically turn on. Now because it's day, it's not turning on, but I have taken a night shot. You can see works flawlessly well, and it's able to judge whether the driver or the co-driver is actually using it. I'm just seeing the time because the race is going to start any moment. It's 10:15. Formula 1 race is going to start any moment. I'm so nervous about it at the moment. Okay, now not really hard plastics, like really soft material, beautiful finishing, like yeah, soft. Everything is so freaking soft. I'm just going to turn off the air conditioning. Meanwhile, I forgot to remove something, so we're going to get out. Now I think at the rear this thing hasn't been removed, the sticker, so here we go. That was so freaking satisfying. I loved it. Soft closed door for the win, and there it goes inside so softly, so nicely. The seats are really fantastic, like amazing seats, next level seats in this car. Beautiful. Now there's a lot to talk about with this thing because Mercedes has made changes here also. Earlier there was this rotary controller which has gone in place. There's a touchpad now. Before that, this obviously opens the storage space. There are two USB-C charging sockets here. Okay, open this. There's a USB-C charging socket along with a 12-volt charging socket, twin cup holders, and a wireless charging pad which has the Tata Tri-Star pattern. Just kidding, it says NFC, which is near field communication, but the problem is you can't really see your phone once it's inside here. That's kind of disappointing. Now there was a clock right here which Mercedes has again removed, and you guys think only Hyundai and Maruti and all these manufacturers remove features. Well, every car maker is doing that. They're removing features छोटे छोटे करके, small but significant ones, because I'm like, time क्या हुआ? I'm like, घड़ी गायब हो गई, ये क्या हो गया भाई? Anyways, touchpad is easy to operate, but I love the rotary controller. Now this is for the drive mode selector. This is to get into manual mode. This is to adjust the suspension of the vehicle. This is to turn on and off traction control, get into traction control sport. Now this is the volume controller. This is for the active exhaust. This is for the stop start system, and this is for the camera. So when I press this button, we get into camera. It obviously gets self park function as well, and it's got a multitude of cameras, so you can see all these cameras here. which is kind of nice. Beautifully done cameras. Let's get into the home. Now this is the usual Mercedes MBUX system, which is nice enough. So phone navigation is actually quite nice. You can see the quality of the screen is fantastic. This is a 12.3 inch screen. So is this one. This is also 12.3 inch screen, and yes, this is a touchscreen. You saw me operate a touchscreen right now, but you know what? The pre-facelifted model did not get a touchscreen. So touchscreen is something new here, which we take for granted, of course. Let's get to radio and let's play an audio right away. Audio quality is absolutely fantastic, really very nice. Okay, then you can get into Mercedes Me and apps because it gets connected car tech. That's why it says Me here. And this is to get into the comfort mode. Now it gets massage function. You can see there are around 8 massages: hot relaxing back, hot relaxing shoulder, activating massage, classic massage, wave massage, mobilizing massage, and active workout backrest. So all this is there, and you can decide if you want the massage to be high or maybe probably low as well. Get into seat comfort. It has something known as seat kinetics, and then you can actually adjust the seat in a million ways. You can decide how you want the how you want the bolsters to be. I just pressed it and the bolster went absolutely crazy. Let me do one thing. Let me try and adjust it here. I don't know if you guys can see it. बहुत ही छोटे से दिख रहा है. Here I'm just going to change it. Yeah, that's kind of nice as well. And then dynamic seats. Well, I think dynamic seat is turned, okay, level 2. Now it's going to work for the co-passenger, so I only thought it's for the driver. Yeah, so these are the dynamic seats. Then ambient lighting obviously is amazing because you've got 64 colors for the ambient lighting, and then you can get into multicolor, which also has a lot of colors in this color mix as well. I'm just going to shut multicolor, and there you can see 64 freaking colors. The ambient light is absolutely awesome and also has a welcome mode as such, which is kind of nice. AMG Performance also has a lot of information, like it tells me exactly how much G-force is being encountered, how much gas I'm pressing, how much brakes I'm pressing, and you know what, I can get into engine, which shows me engine data, how much power and torque is being consumed. That's also very nice. And then you know what, oh my god, this is such an overloaded screen. Shows me how the power and torque is going. I can go full screen. That's a tire pressure monitor showing me the angle as well, like crazy. And consumption, then dynamic select. Okay, we should get out of this track pace, which is again nice, wherein it says use it on a closed track. Here I can actually decide a lot of things. For starters, obviously I can do a drag race and then time myself. That it has this Christmas light as well. I can see how much power and torque is being given from the car. Oh my god, engine speed and stuff. And then I can save all this data, export it to the app to just see how well I'm driving on a racetrack. That's also cool. That's very detailed as such. And then you get into settings where there is important information. This is for the parking sensor. This is for the heads up display. This is for tow away protection. This is for the alarm of the car, I believe. Okay, interior motion sensor on, that motion sensor which I was talking about. This is to increase the ride height of the car, and this is to open and close the sun blind at the rear as well. And there it's taking its own sweet time. Let's do one thing. Let's open the sunroof of the car, and that sunroof is actually big, like big in terms of size. There it's opening, brings in a lot of light and some fresh air at the moment, and then I press it once again. No, nothing happens. That's the maximum it's going to open. But yeah, it's a big enough sunroof. Only thing I hoped it was a big massive panoramic panel. That would be so freaking cool as well. Let me press this button and just shut it at the moment because it is super duper hot on the inside. Like, you won't believe it how much I'm sweating. Just check this out. Okay, that is the level of sweat I have right now. That is the level of sweat I have right now. So I'm just going to do one thing. I'm just going to get into the wider view of the camera. These are the controls for the air conditioning. Now steering has this new switches which are really awesome. Here I can decide a lot of things, like if I want to just change the settings, and if I press it inside I can decide which other setting I want to get into. This is so freaking cool. Now this is obviously for the drive mode selector, and there, how awesome is that, and easy as well. These are the controls for the cruise control system. This is for the volume control. This is to get into this screen. This is to get into that screen. Now this screen also has a lot of stuff to offer. Like whatever you get on the left screen, you can see here on the right screen, which is assistant, telephone, navigation, performance, trip data, radio, media, and styles and display and service also. So in styles and displays, there's actually 5 of them. So let me get into the classic mode. This is the classic mode, and you can just browse through a lot of information in the center. Meanwhile, there's a G-force meter as well. I can get into the right side. I can browse here also and see a lot of stuff. The problem is, this is an information overload. It shows you the map. It shows you so much data. Absolutely crazy. And then you know what? I can actually browse and get to the... Okay, I'm just going to mess it up on the left side also, and then change all this. So I'll do one thing when I'm driving the car. I'm just going to use all the modes so you guys can actually see all of them as well. This is the gas selector, of course. These are the controls for the wipers. Obviously, it gets electric adjust for the steering wheel, both for reach as well as rake. it's a bit slow to operate. And there I have just taken it all the way closer to myself. You can only operate one at one time. Now another cool bit is the fact that it obviously gets automatic wipers, it gets automatic headlights as well. So let's use the wipers right away. You can see there is so much spray on offer, crazy amount of spray on offer. The spray is so much now that obviously I'm so sure it sprayed it all over the glass as well. That's kind of on the crazy side. Now I've already shown you all this 360-degree camera and stuff like that. Very nice. So I mean, this is a very crazy detailed screen. So is this screen. Like, there's so much information overload here as well. And I love the fact that this beautiful finishing has been done on the steering wheel. But there was this ऐसे करके कुछ तो है जो पुराने मॉडल में था, वो निकाल दिया यहाँ से, which kind of helps you judge where your car is going. I'm just kidding, but I'm not kidding about the feature, but I'm just kidding about helping you to judge where the car is going. Now let me turn off the car. When you turn off the car now, here, let me open the door. There it shows the Mercedes logo, and then I get onto the inside the car. Obviously, it shows this beautiful E-Class as well. So really nice graphics. Okay, audio automatically turns on whenever I turn on the car, so that's a bit of a bummer. And I think we've spoken way more than we should have, so I'm just going to get out of the car and I'm going to immediately lock the vehicle. And here we go, vehicle is locked. Okay, there the mirrors go inside. Now I'm going to use this button on the remote, of course, and I'm going to try and put all the windows down. Yeah, here we go. Come on, don't take so much time, don't disappoint me. 3, 2, 1. No. Yeah, now all the windows are coming down, and it also opens the sunroof of the car. That's kind of cool and nice. This is so that, you know, you want to get fresh airiness inside the vehicle, you can do this. So that's a nice feature which we've kind of taken for granted, because obviously almost all the cars get it. You can see how freaking low this car is from the side. Absolutely crazy. Now I've spoken so much that I feel guilty of just blabbering. What am I saying? Blabbering. So let's do one thing. Let's start driving right away. Before that, I forgot to tell you about the heads-up display. Okay, so we're going to turn on the car. There, it kind of rose to life. You can see there's a heads-up display. Okay, there is the heads-up display. Now the heads-up display has got multiple modes, and you can see a lot of information as well. As you can see right now, I've shot this at night, so you can see it clearly. So it has two modes for the tachometer. One is a sort of a race mode. Then it can also show you navigation data. It can show you basically consumption data as well. What's the fuel efficiency like? It can show you the various safety features, like what is the distance ahead with the car. And it's absolutely crazy. Here it also tells me what is the seat belt, which is not being worn in the car. Well, there's no one at the rear, so why are you so bothered about it at the moment? It says 31 degrees Celsius, and you can see my face is like full of sweat at the moment. And on that disappointment, it's time to end the walk around. But it's the good part, because let's skip to the good part, the driving part. Alright, we are all set to go. I will just press this one button, and as soon as I do it, the steering wheel position will move, because the steering wheel setting is actually saved in the memory function. That's so cool. Hey Mercedes,
how can I help?
Engine data. That's also fantastic. Now straight away we are going to come into race mode. I'm going to turn the traction control into sport. Then I keep the button pressed and I turn off traction control completely. I press both these paddles and it says drift mode unavailable, but this is the process to actually get into drift mode. But since it's not available, we'll still keep traction control off for a moment. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Air conditioning is off, and yeah, that's about it. Nothing much to do. Hazard light off, revving the motor, and off we go. Okay, we have to be in first gear as well. I forgot about that. Hazard light off, and off we go. Race start. I'm actually driving with the traction control off. Such is the level of guts I have, or the level of confidence in this car. largely to the fact, largely because this car is all-wheel drive 4MATIC Plus, which channels power both to the front as well as the rear axle, which means that the car will not slip or lose control at all. But once you turn on drift mode, it deactivates the front axle, and once that happens, obviously the car is going to spin all around because just too much power and torque going to the rear wheels. But just for the sake of safety, we will get into ESP Sport right now, not turn it off completely, which I had done actually at launch, but really doesn't make any difference at all because the level of performance and the way the power is delivered is absolutely fantastic in this car. Now, this is a facelifted model of the E-Class, rather the E63, which is based on the facelifted model of the E-Class. So all the changes which have been done on the outside, on the inside, as well as some of them are mechanical too, but the engine remains the same. We have a 4-liter bi-turbo V8 which produces the identical 612 horsepower at 5,750 RPM to 6,500 RPM, the same as before, and the torque also remains the same as before, which is 850 Newton meters, which comes in at 2,500 RPM and stays there till 4,500 RPM. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour comes up in a claimed 3.4 seconds. Meanwhile, it goes to a top speed of 300 kilometers per hour. You can see I cleared the speed breaker without any hassle. Actually, it has no issues clearing speed breakers thanks to the ride height, which is easily increased by a press of a button. Right now, I think might be shut also because I crossed 100 kilometers per hour. It automatically lowers down. Okay, it's showing me it's actually lowered as well. So it automatically lowers down at around 100 kilometers per hour to give you better aerodynamic efficiency at high speeds and obviously high speed stability as well. But engine is very responsive. It's a fantastic motor. So earlier the E63 in India, the AMG model, the E63S of course, used to come with a limit of 250 kilometers per hour for the top speed. Now that has been increased to 300 kilometers per hour. Actually, they have given the AMG drivers package as standard because the E53 has a top speed of 250 kilometers per hour, and you're going to be, when you're charging 81 lakhs more, you can't have the same top speed for both the cars, right? That's the reason we get that, and it reaches the top speed very fast. In fact, this car will go beyond 300 kilometers per hour if that limiter is not there, because such is the level of grind. But I'm disappointed that Mercedes has not offered EQ boost. What am I talking? Why am I supporting electric all of a sudden? I don't support electric. I am supporting hybrid. Okay, with EQ boost, it would have had additional punch lower down the rev range, resulting in even better performance. Maybe it could go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.2 seconds, which is faster than a Ferrari Roma as well. That would be super duper awesome, but EQ boost has not been added to this car, which is kind of disappointing. Low end has some lag. It doesn't feel that sprightly lower end of the rev range. You know why? Because there is some lag, but you know what? I'm so used to now electric car takeoff that I kind of expect that immediate getaway, which does not happen in this car. But then that is the silence before the storm, because trust me, the way it builds that suspense and goes absolutely ballistic from 3000 RPM, not from 2500 RPM, although that is where the peak torque starts, but still it takes its little bit of a time. But 3000 RPM, it goes absolutely ballistic, mad missile, and then really jets ahead. This engine has so much character, it's absolutely crazy. You know, just to sum it up, I would say, you know, BMW makes that fantastic V8 engine which powers the M5 4.4 liter V8, which is so good that Jaguar Land Rover is like, hame bhi de do yaar. That's the reason why the new Range Rover models are actually going to be using the BMW sourced V8 motor. What a motor. Okay, and then obviously the Audi V8 needs no introduction whatsoever, because that engine powers so many cars now. I have lost count. The Bentayga, the Urus, the Cayenne, as well as of course the RS Q8 as well, and then the RS7. What an engine, absolutely fantastic. But trust me, neither BMW, neither Audi can match the character of an AMG V8. This engine is on another level altogether. Look at this. Nothing can match the character. It's so raw, it kind of feels mad. I know it is a little, you know, toned down when compared to the pre-facelifted model, which felt really crazy and muscular. But trust me, this engine is absolutely crazy. I mean, you'll buy this car only for the engine, and that's the reason you pay 81 lakhs more from the E53 for this car, only for the engine, because rest of the things remain more or less the same. This engine is so freaking good. In fact, it will return a mileage of 2 kilometers per liter if you drive it hard, or maybe 3.5 kilometers per liter if you drive it little bit more sanely. But because this has got something known as cylinder shut-off technology, which shuts 4 cylinders on light loads to reduce fuel consumption, and then you also have a gliding mode which you can set to just glide through and decouple the transmission and the engine. I mean, so that, you know, you're getting my drift. How intelligent engineering ensures this car is absolutely ballistic a missile. And talking about tech, well, it has these front and rear cameras which actually move when you turn the steering wheel. So it's not really the camera which is moving, it's the software which has been done so that you feel that the camera is actually moving. And then the parking sensors also do a nice dance, which is very much BMW. Like I saw it first in a BMW car, so it shows this whole dance movement, telling you exactly if there's something which is coming around. And this car also gets a high mounted stop lamp which is not visible at all. I don't know why. Anyways, motor is so phenomenal. This engine is like full of character. The sound is really nice. It cracks, it pops, it does all that and more. But unfortunately, and really very unfortunate, is that the sound is a bit toned down. I think due to European noise regulation, now Mercedes is like, AMG has dialed down the sound a bit, so you don't feel that rawness intact on the inside. And then further dulling the experience is the fact that because of new emission norms, the engine's raw character is a little bit diluted. I remember the old E63 was absolutely ballistic, and I should say E63S, because there's also an E63 which is slightly cheaper, not available in India though, not even available in the UK, but it's available in certain markets, which is like I think 10,000 pounds cheaper and takes 0.1 additional time to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, 3.5 seconds. You know why? Because it has 40 horsepower less and 100 Newton meters lesser torque, so it's somewhere around I think 570 something of that horsepower, and the torque output is 750 Newton meters. But who knows what that drives like, because nobody will want to buy it. Like, get the full thing or get an E53. Why you want to like get an E63? Get the E63S, because an S is an S is an S, and the motor revs so fast, it's absolutely crazy. And there's so much to talk about this engine. But before that, since we are kind of stuck in a traffic jam, let me go through the drive modes. Okay, right now we are in race mode. There's 6 drive modes on offer, so I'm just going to read them out to you. Okay, there's Sport, Sport Plus, Comfort, Individual, Slippery, and there's of course Race. Now, when you get into Individual, there's so many things which you can actually change. So I'm just going to press this button, and then in Drive, I can decide if I want the drive to be reduced. What is reduced? Moderate, Sport, Dynamic, and Race. That's nice. I rather prefer Race. Then into Transmission, I have manual or normal drive. Then in terms of dynamics, I have Basic, Advanced, Pro, and Master. Okay, AMG Dynamics, which again is cool. And then in Suspension, I can decide Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus. And yeah, exhaust system is either balanced or powerful. I'm just going to do one thing. I'm just going to get into race mode at the moment, because that is the best mode to drive this car. And then with race start on, the launch is so good. Even if you have manual on the gearbox now, it will still upshift because you're in race mode, bro. You're in launch control mode. So we're just going to stop here for a second. Hazard light on. Brakes are very nice, but it doesn't get red. Doesn't get golden colored brake calipers, because that's for the carbon ceramic brakes. This car does not have that option ticked yet. Stoppy, very nicey. Now what we are going to do is we are going to use some interesting bits with track pace. So we're going to time ourselves. Okay, here we are into drag race, and I don't know exactly what parameter we are testing at the moment, but I want to do acceleration. Yes. Okay, target speed is saying 250 kilometers per hour. Nahi bhai, hum to 100 kilometers per hour tak hi target kar lenge filhal. And yeah, starting speed 0 kilometers per hour. I'm just going to keep it 0 kilometers per hour. That's fine. So we're just going to activate this, and let's see how does it go. It says pull away or select manual start. Okay, I'm just going to pull away. Anyways, here into the instrument cluster, I need to change the mode because I want to see something different, which means we're going to get out of this Super Sport one and get into the Sport one. This is very fiddly to use. I don't like it at all. Okay, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Hazard light off. Race start. Whoa. Okay, it ends up telling me the weather. Okay, that's fine. I accept that weather, whichever you're telling me. Just tell me the timing which I've achieved. 3.72 seconds to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, which is quite quick considering that this car is not in the best of state right now because the tires are a little bit gone as well, and then the atmosphere is a little hot. Otherwise it will reach. Okay, I have to admit it, Mercedes claim time is not that easy to get. Audi's claim time is easy to beat only. So here we go. In freaking sane. I love it. I just love the performance of this car. It's another level. We're just going to come to this engine data thingy, which is just random stuff, and it's just showing me G-force meter, how much gas I'm getting onto. I like this cluster mode, but I like the Super Sport more actually. So yeah. Now the major change underneath happens to be to the suspension. Lot of owners actually complained कि अरे यार बहुत ज़्यादा stiff है ये गाड़ी, and that's something I actually liked about the E63. Like it gave me that muscle car vibes with the stiffness and mad power delivery and sound. That power delivery is still mad, but that stiffness has gone completely. It's become more compliant. Not that Mercedes has changed the suspension much. They have actually kind of made changes to the dampers. They've made changes to the rubber bushings in the suspension. They've made changes to the rear subframe, and they've made all these changes to ensure that the vibrations are not filtered through, and it's a bit more compliant. Specifically in comfort mode, it is a lot more compliant now, so the ride has definitely improved. It doesn't crash through bad potholes as such. Low speed ride is good, mid speed ride is also good, and high speed ride over bad bumps is not good enough. So if you slow down, things are fine, but if you go fast, you know, then you're going to crash through. But somehow I think the suspension does a much better job than before. But all these people who give feedback to Mercedes saying that, you know, the suspension is very stiff and very unbearable, let me tell you something, you should have just got a regular E-Class rather than getting an E63S, because that is what gives you the amazing ride. The E63 should be all about stiffness, lack of practicality, and unbearableness. Okay, the ride was unbearable before. Now it's slightly more, I mean slightly bearable, not slightly more bearable, but slightly bearable, because still it's a very, very stiff car and not very comfortable as such. And then you can like feel all that when you drive it over bad roads. But the good thing is ground clearances are no issue here. Handling is as good as ever. It feels very sharp, it feels very nice. It has body roll which is very well contained as well, and the steering is so freaking good. It's so heavy a steering wheel, it's crazy heavy steering wheel, but you know, it offers great feel and feedback and feels nice at high speeds. But over bad roads there's a little bit of movement which is happening because of the low profile tires, and you can hear a bit of the road as well because of the low profile tires, and you can hear a bit of the tire noise as well. But you know, the sound of the engine overshadows each and everything on earth, so that you don't hear anything else at all. You're just going to come to a halt here, which means hazard light on. I love the brakes, I love the grip, I love almost everything about this beautiful Mercedes E63S AMG. Order mein bolo na, Mercedes-AMG E63S. Okay, I got it. Now pardon me, I am actually going to get into the super sport display because I just love it. Plus I want to show you another thing. It actually makes it much easier for me to read stuff, which means right now it's idling at 880 RPM. We're going to get manual mode on the gearbox. Okay, and now just observe, we are also going to get into this other mode which shows how the power and torque is being done. I mean, how the car's wheels are actually coping up with this G-force. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, and now you are going to witness madness. Hazard light off, race start, and off we go. Now, of course, because we were in race start, manual mode did not engage, so we're going to slow down to a point where we get into first gear. You can see the shifts are really very aggressive and nice in this car because it uses a multi-clutch transmission. It's a 9-speed unit, unlike the E53 which uses a torque converter. This is obviously a multi-clutch transmission. By the way, this uses a wet clutch. It's kind of faster now, but the timing difference is so small now you can't really realize the difference at all. And here, let's get into first gear. Okay, we're in second actually. Now we are into first, and listen to this. Okay, 6,900 RPM in first, 7,000 RPM in second, and 7,000 RPM in third as well. I think it goes till 7,100 RPM in third, and then you realize that you're driving too fast, so you slow down. But trust me, the higher the gear, the madness increases. This is a car which does not let go at all. No matter what the speed is, it just, okay, look at this, okay? I am going to get into maybe 6th gear and then 7th gear. I'm onto the throttle. Now things are dull because we are not in the meat of the power band, but trust me, it goes absolutely ballistic when you push it hard, like from the mid-range to the top end. It's crazy. Like, this is a mad beast redline motor which is like crazy. There are two turbochargers, of course. It's a bi-turbo unit. It uses 4MATIC plus 4-wheel drive system and a beautifully fast gearbox which gives you manual control of things, which will not upshift unless and until you decide to do so. It will not even do a downshift unless and until you decide to do so. And then it also gets AMG's rear differential, which by the way is electronically controlled. So what it does is basically it can decide how much power or torque it wants to channel to independent rear wheels, and it can send up to 100% of the torque to the rear wheels. Obviously, if I disengage the front axle, everything's going to go to the rear only. Now, Faisal, what are you even talking? But the point is that actually helps in cornering. Even while changing lanes, you can realize that. And now the steering is actually very heavy at lower speeds, which you're going to witness right now. So I'm just going to turn and you will see that firstly the steering, okay, it centers really quickly. Like, yeah, there, it's centering like super duper fast, taking a U-turn effortless. Turning radius is a bit on the higher side, and then you realize you should just keep going, and off we go. Seconds se utha raha hu gaadi. Before you know it, the whole cluster, it kind of colors itself red to tell you, boss, you are going into red line territory, which you should prepare to shift because you can't shift as fast as this gearbox can. You can use the paddle shifters, which I think are the best things on the steering wheel, because everything else is a little cumbersome to use this one. Quality of these things have dramatically improved, no denying that fact. Like, I definitely like using them right now, and the sound is on full banana mode right now. And let's see, we are in master for the AMG dynamics, which just gives me a little bit of oversteer, but honestly you have to really get into drift mode to be able to enjoy this car around the corner as much, to give more input and be more involved, because with the front axle engaged, when power is channeled to the front wheel, obviously it will not let you go oversteery at all. And the good thing is that the balance is just unbelievable. I mean, this is a race car which is in a sedan body. That is the level of performance, but then it also weighs a lot. 2000 kgs is the weight. The weight of this car and the weight of the E53 is kind of identical, but because of the 2000 kgs, you can feel that weight if you really try to get near the limit, and that's when the problem arises. But the cost of this car is 2.07 crores, okay, which is like 81 lakhs more than the E53. In fact, it costs more than double than the top end of the regular E-Class, which happens to be the E350D AMG line, which costs 1.02 crores on road Mumbai. But you know what? You get double the car, you get double the performance, you get double the fun, you get double the thrill, you get double the cornering ability, you get double of almost everything. So you should be paying the double price, although, you know, most of that money actually goes to the government, because this comes via the CBU route, and the regular E-Class is actually locally assembled in India, which attracts, I think, 15% duty, direct duty, and then there's more around. But you know what? This one attracts 100% and more than that. So it's like सीधा double हो जाता है. Just hear the aggressive downshifts. So satisfying. And off we go. You know why it's moving all over the place, and why that noise also came of the traction control not being able to take all that power being put on the rear wheels? Because I obviously have put the AMG dynamics into master, which means it's going to be less restrictive as well. Now the thing is, this car has obviously got active brake assist, something which no matter you drive an AMG or Fortuner is going to overtake you, which by the way is an ADAS function which will automatically apply brakes if someone comes in front of you. Now that may not work in the mode we are in right now, in race mode, so we are in comfort mode, and I can see that triangle. The triangle also comes on the screen ahead, and then obviously it kind of warns you. And then you know what, it has got a 66 litre fuel tank capacity, which is a lot. Not really, because it really drinks through all of that. It has a 10 litre reserve, unlike the E53, which has a 7 litre reserve with the same 66 litre fuel tank. And then how can I forget, this car also happens to get dynamic engine mounts, which have been revised on this car. So basically what do? They softened at lower speeds to ensure compliance in terms of ride quality and overall vibration, noise, vibration, harshness. And at higher speeds, they stiffen up to ensure a more dynamic driving experience. That's also nice, but the problem is that I like the old model better. I think the old model looked better. I think the one which I drove was better kitted, and of course it was louder, it was more raw. Ride quality was unbearable, but that's something I could live with. But what I can't live with is that this car costs 30 lakhs more than the pre-facelift model. Do you get 30 lakhs worth of stuff? No, you don't. But the reason why the price has increased by 30 lakhs is purely because with the updated model, there has been a big time gap, and yeah, you know now how the prices are increasing and stuff like that, and that's largely the reason why this thing is much more expensive. And you know what, it actually gallops ahead. Okay, absolutely crazy. I think I am not in the right setting, because this is not kicking in only. So we are going to get into assistance. Okay, active brake assist, which is on early surprisingly, but the system is very smart. Okay, now we are in 4-cylinder mode, so it's very smart enough to realize that when you are not naturally getting into an obstacle, when you're trying to game it as well. And then here we are there. That's how it works. Fantastic as well. So guys, this is my vlog of the Mercedes AMG E63S. Absolutely terrific a car. The performance, the thrill, the madness, unparalleled and next to none. I love it. It's better than the M5. I'm so sorry to say that, disappointing all the BMW fans, but since you have reached here, why not give this video a like as well as subscribe to the channel. Bye bye. Woo!